She comes from the Detroit Board of Education that's been in exile for quite some time now. You know, education across the board is under attack because they don't need these children to work anymore like they used to, so why should they be educated? Why should they learn the alphabet? Why do they need to know these numbers? They are never going to be able to hold full-time jobs again. So the next voice you're going to hear is one of our best speakers, one of my most prolific thinkers and whatnot, a dear friend. Please welcome Elena Herrada.
Thank you. Greetings from exile. I'm one of the school board members who is running for the new Detroit Public Schools. I won't keep you long, but I will let you know that I've been on the school board for the last 7 years under emergency manager. That means that we do not set curriculum, we do not spend any money, we make no decisions, but we have been so resistant to emergency manager. This is me and the school board members in exile. There are 11 school board members and 7 of us have faithfully remained in exile. They actually dissolved the school district and started a new one. It's like if you have a lot of debt and you don't want to pay it, you change your name and move and leave no forwarding address. And the last address gets the bill, and the new address gets the new schools, the new buildings, and students. But we are the school board in exile. I'm asking, do we have Detroiters in the audience? We got Detroit voters in the audience? I'm asking you to pay attention to the stand-up slate. We have stood up against the tyranny of emergency manager. We have stood up against Snyder and Duggan. Duggan tried to put in something called the DEC, which he calls the Detroit Education Commission, which we call Duggan's education contracts. We are asking for your vote. Detroit, exile, would like your vote. Pay attention to our slate. There will be 7 of us, and we're asking for you to vote for us. We're saying no to Skillman. We are saying no to the foundations. We are saying no to charter schools. Our 2-point platform is this. We want the same rights to govern as the white districts do. I'll repeat, we want the same rights to govern as the white school districts have. And the second point is no audit, no peace. Our 2-point platform, number 1, the same rights to govern as the white districts. Can you repeat it, please? And the second one is an audit. Thank you very much.
Very good. Miss Elena Herrada, a board member in exile.
Fair, y'all. Not fair. All right. My name is Anita Bell. Today is a beautiful, beautiful day, and I just love it looking out here and seeing barely an empty seat and folks standing out there. But it's also a sad day for me because one of the stalwarts of Detroit's reparation movement is being buried right now as we speak, and her name is Ethel Bragg. So I just have to say I honor Mama Ethel Bragg, and I just thank you all for at least coming to hear me speak. Everybody else that's in my little movement is over at her homegoing service. So I just wanted to make some people aware, because one person asked me, why is this room so white? And I said, well, I know where some of my people are. All right. I am the female co-chair. Thank you. Thank you. Trust me, Mother Bragg would be here. She would be on the front row, but it's just my male co-chair for the INCOBRA chapter, which is the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America. This is Stan Bragg's mother. And so a lot of Detroit is a powerhouse for reparations, and so they're there, but I'm here. All right. I'm also the president of the Reparations Labor Union, and that's where I get to speak to you on behalf of the Reparations Labor Union today. The Reparations Labor Union is a relatively new organization, and it is founded by 3 black Jews from Detroit, and we were all members of the Downtown Synagogue. And we started this organization in 2013 in solidarity with the City of Detroit employees and retirees who were losing their wages and benefits and pensions during Detroit's recent bankruptcy. So some of you might be familiar with that. The Reparations Labor Union has a petition. And on that petition, we are asking for reparations by an executive order, and we need 100,000 signatures to ask the president to enact Congressman John Conyers' H.R. 40 by an executive order. So in that particular petition, where we need 100,000 signatures, I have the lovely Kate back there. Just wave a hand, Kate, where you can sign the petition at the table, or you can text EZ sign to 313131, or download the Reparations app from iTunes and Google Play Store. So again, EZ sign to 313131, sign the petition at the table with Kate, or download the app from iTunes and Google Play Store. So I was asked, once we get 100,000 signatures and take the petition, if President Obama still says no, then what? And that's when the Reparations Labor Union took the position that we must have a president that will say yes to reparations. And that president is the Green Party's candidate of Jill Stein and Ajamu Baraka. The Green Party has long held on its political platform that they favor and support reparations to African Americans. And so we don't have to wait for the Democratic Party to change their platform. We already can take that platform to the Green Party. And then when we get that White House, we'll have the executive order. All right. So, of course, I want to invite Dr. Stein and Mr. Baraka to also sign the petition at EZ sign 313131, or go to the table in the back. And I also want to invite them to have me work with them on reparations when they get to the White House. All right. For everybody who knows the words of Hebrew, I'm wishing you Shabbat Shalom, because, of course, black Jews, we're here. Thank you.
Anita Bell.
This morning. Trash men been getting my trash today. Oh, why? Because they want more pay. Buses on strike, run a raising fare, so they can help pollute the air. But that's what makes us walk around the ups and downs, the share. They're blaming it on longer hair and big men sitting in their easy cigar without a care. That's what makes the world go round. The ups and downs, the carousel, changing people's heads around. Go underground, young man. Make the world go round. People, make the world go round. People, make the world go round.
Mother, mother, too many of you crying. There's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some happiness here today. Oh, Father, Father, we don't need to escalate. For only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Oh, pick it time and pick a line. Don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see, hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hey, hey, simply cause our hair is long. You know we've got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Oh, picket lines, picket signs, don't punish me with brutality. Come on and talk to me so you can see what's going on. What's going on? What's going on?
Thank you so much. All right, I'm Anita Bell again. I'm here to introduce Vice Presidential candidate Ajamu Baraka. All right. Ajamu Baraka is an internationally recognized leader of the emerging human rights movement in the United States and has been at the forefront of efforts to apply the international human rights framework to social justice advocacy in the U.S. As such, he has provided human rights training for grassroots activists across the country, briefings on human rights to the United States Congress, and appeared before and provided statements to various United Nations agencies, including the United Nations Human Rights Commission, which is the precursor to the current UN Human Rights Council. He's played an important role in bringing human rights perspective to the preparatory meetings for the World Conference on Racism that took place in Geneva and in Santiago, Chile, as part of the Latin American preparatory process, as well as the actual conference that he attended as a delegate in Durban, South Africa in 2001. Ajamu Baraka was the founding executive director of the United States Human Rights Network from July 2004 until June of 2011. And during Baraka's tenure, the network initiated the Katrina campaign on internal displacement after Baraka was the first to formally identify the victims of Hurricane Katrina as internally displaced people. Now, he served on several boards. I could go for a long time on this, including Amnesty International, the Center for Constitutional Rights, Africa Action, the Mississippi Workers Center for Human Rights. This list goes on and on. He's received so many rewards, and he's appeared on CNN, BBC, The Tavis Smiley Show, Telemundo, the ABC World News Tonight, Russia Today, The Washington Post, The New York Times. Let's give it up for brother and Vice President of the United States, Ajamu Baraka.
Are you ready to make history? I said, are you ready to make history? Touch, touch. My brothers and sisters, it is my honor and my pleasure to be with you this afternoon, where we are in fact making history. Before I go into my very brief remarks, because we want to hear some more from our local folks who are running for office. And of course, we have the treat of the day coming before us, and that is Dr. Jill Stein. But I want to thank the organizers of this event. You know, those of us who put on these kinds of events, we know how much work this entails. And so it's important that we always thank the folks who sometimes we don't see, but who are responsible for pulling all of this together today. So thank you. We want to also thank this outstanding band and this incredible music today. It has helped to move the day and to keep us in high spirits. And we have to be in high spirits because we have some difficult work to do. Because when you talk about trying to make history, you're talking about trying to change history, to disconnect, to de-link from what is already in place. And that takes a tremendous effort. But it also takes a real commitment to understanding the power of the people and understanding what has to be done to make that leap into a new kind of historical condition. It means that the struggle that we are engaged in, my friends, is a struggle to transform consciousness also. There's not just enough to talk about the political contradictions. We have to build a social movement and a new kind of psychology in this country also. What that means, my friends, is that we are part of a movement. We have to remind ourselves that what we are doing is, in fact, to build a new kind of people's movement. I tell folks wherever I go over these last 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks or so, that it's important for us to look at and to participate and to vote, but we have to also remind ourselves that we are in a protracted struggle for revolutionary change. You see, some of us don't play with that word revolution. We understand its importance. We understand its seriousness. And we understand that we can't make revolutionary change without the people. So what we are doing with this campaign, what all of you are involved in with this work, is the work of transforming people's understandings and awareness, of helping people to understand that they truly have the power in their own hands. And that is so profoundly important, because the powers that be, they don't want us to understand that. They fear-monger. They want us to believe that basically politics has to be defined from the top down. They want us to believe that the only options we have in terms of traditional politics is to vote for Tweedledee or Tweedledee done. But we are here to say no more. But my friends, that means we have to be engaged with the people. It means that we have to struggle with folks, because they have been very effective in that fear-mongering. And that's why some people are reluctant to step out with us at this point. Now, we've had a tremendous number of people who have come our way over the last month and a half or so. And people are still kind of looking and wondering, should they make the plunge? Should they come out in our direction? And that's all right. What we're going to do these next 2 months is to continue to engage the people, to show through our own example how you confront and overcome fear, to blaze the trail, if you will, so that people understand that there can be an alternative, and that alternative is, in fact, the Green Party. That is why it is so important what we had today in terms of giving all of you an opportunity to meet many of the people who are running under the Green Party banner. Because as Dr. Stein and myself will always remind us, this is about building the apparatus. This campaign is about building popular power. It's not just about me and Dr. Stein. It's about all of the other candidates who are running. It is about organizing and strengthening our state apparatuses across the country. It's about putting in place the instruments that we need in order to express and exercise real popular power here in this country. That is how you build a revolutionary process. We want to link up with all of the incredible work that people are doing around this country. People who are part of the various social movements, some who are not yet ready to engage in the electoral process. We want to engage those folks. Many of them are looking very closely at what we're doing. Many of them have said to me directly that, you know what, as a consequence of the decision that Dr. Stein made and bringing you on and looking at this party a little closer, I'm thinking twice about how I should relate to the electoral process. That conversation I've been having across the country, that people who understand or are committed to revolutionary change, they're now re-examining how we relate to the electoral system. Now, for me, I've always understood its potential. I've always said that basically you can't be serious about organizing this country if you don't engage the state, if you don't figure out a way to creatively deal with the electoral system, that if you see a city council spot or a spot on a local board of education or even a state rep spot, and you can't organize and take that, well, it only takes in many cases a few thousand votes, then you might need to re-examine what you are doing in terms of your organizing, okay? Those spots in many cases are there for us to take. That is part of the process of building alternative power. Now, it doesn't just mean that, individuals should just jump up and run. That's all right to a certain extent. But what I'm talking about, my friends, is using and participating in the electoral process as part of a broader strategy for transformation. It is part of a strategy for building long-term power, okay? It is not the end, but in fact, the beginning. We say that when we walk into this White House next year, Dr. Stein and myself, when we walk into this White House in D.C., that is not the end point. That's the beginning point. We understand that this struggle that we are part of is a struggle for real transformation. We understand that we're not going to be able to enact our transitional program reflected in our platform without the organized people participating and committed to real change. So, when we go to D.C., we don't expect demobilization. We don't expect disengagement and disempowerment. We expect for people to continue to struggle, to be engaged, and to have that vision close to their hearts and understand that basically we are at the beginning point of a historical transformation that will happen here in this country. My friends, this has been such an educational experience for me these last few weeks. I've had a chance to talk with people across the country and to hear some of the serious questions that they're raising. And they're raising serious questions because they are seeing also too that they're not going to allow themselves to be roped into this false choice of just having two elite corporate parties to choose from. They are asking the question, why do we still have 20 million people without adequate health care? And why is it that for those millions that have health care today under the Affordable Care Act, people are still scared to use it? They're saying, what kind of society do we have, and why do we have a situation where members of the African American family in this country are frightened every time they leave the house and every time a police car falls in behind them when they're driving? What kind of society is that? They are raising the question as to what is it that in our society, in our communities, that we have people who, are suffering unnecessarily from all kinds of diseases because their communities were used as waste dumps, toxic waste dumps. They say, why do we have to have a society and a state in which we are supposed to be at permanent war? Why do we have millions of people who would like to work full-time but can't find a full-time job? But yet they tell us that we are supposed to be experiencing an economic recovery from 2008. But folks are saying, you know what? We don't feel it. So they are raising these serious questions And we are there, and you have to be there to provide some of the transitional answers. And the main answer that we have to provide is this. We have to build a functioning democracy here in this country. We have to build effective, popular people power in this country. That's how we deal with those issues. So, as I get ready to take my seat, let me just say this in closing. You know, my approach in this campaign is, I tell folks for this campaign, there will be no lies here, no compromise, and no fear. No lies in the sense that, you know, we believe in the ability of the people to understand reality. We're not going to pander to the people. We're not going to assume that you can understand the complexities of governance. We're not going to do what the Democratic Party did when it came to the Black Lives Matter movement, when instead of engaging and standing with them, all they wanted to do was to manage them to engage in a public relations stunt. In this campaign, we say to the Black Lives Matter movement that not only do we support your platform, because your platform in many parts is almost word for word our platform, then not only do we stand with you, we're going to put our bodies on the line to make sure that no one else suffers in this country in those ways. We say no compromise. When we walk into power, we're not going to make the mistake that some progressive and left organizations and parties have done, where they end up becoming hyper-pragmatic, where they end up, in essence, managing the affairs of the elite. When we walk into office, we're going to make sure that we uphold the principles and ideals and the values of this party and our campaign, and there'll be no compromise for that. And we say no fear. We're not afraid of Donald Trump or anybody. We understand the power of the people. And so when we say no fear, we say that basically we're not going to stop ourselves from representing the masses of the people who support us. We're not going to be concerned about a Donald Trump or anybody else, because we understand that basically it is the power of the people that can trump Trump. Okay? So my friends, as human beings, we don't have the ability to control the historical conditions that we find ourselves in. But we have the ability to decide how we respond to those historical conditions. And we say in this campaign, Dr. Stein and myself, we say in this campaign, we have decided to fight. We're not going to fight for you. We're going to fight with you to transform our conditions. As Dr. Stein says, we have the power. The power is in our hands. We stand with Jill. We stand with the people. The power is in our hands. Take it back, put it back in yourselves, and understand the power you have, and let's make history. Thank you.
Ajamu Baraka!